Here is a review of a few literary devices. Some of these literary devices you covered in your own hashtag vocab presentations, but I want to review them again. And they are all devices that you should be familiar with. Our first one is imagery. Imagery means to use figurative language to present objects, actions, and ideas in such a way that it appeals to our physical senses. So, physical senses are like sight, smell, what you hear. Usually, it is thought that imagery makes use of particular words that create visual representation of ideas in our minds. So, if you are reading something and it creates an image in your mind and you can visualize what you are reading, then that author has used imagery effectively. The word imagery is associated with mental pictures. However, this idea is but partially correct. Imagery, to be realistic, turns out to be more complex than just a picture. Read the following examples of imagery carefully. And remember, it's the senses, it's not just sight. So if an author describes a noise, that noise can create a picture of something that is happening, but you also hear it. It could be a smell, anything. It's not just an image. It was dark and dim in the forest. The words dark and dim are visual images. The children were screaming and shouting in the field. Screaming and shouting appeal to our sense of hearing or auditory sense. And then he whiffed the aroma of brewed coffee. Whiff and aroma evoke our sense of smell or olfactory sense. Personification is a figure of speech in which an idea or thing is given human attributes and or feelings or is spoken of as if it were human. So an inanimate object is given human-like qualities. Personification is a common form of metaphor in that human characteristics are attributed to non-human things. This allows writers to create life and motion with inanimate objects, animals, and even abstract ideas by assigning them recognizable human behaviors and emotions. So, for an example, my alarm yelled at me this morning. This could be a common phrase, but it is an example of personification. Your alarm clock cannot physically open a mouth and yell. I like onions, but they don't like me. The sign on the door insulted my intelligence. My phone is not cooperating with me today. That bus is driving too fast. That my computer works very hard. So again, these are all examples of giving something that is inanimate or an animal or an abstract idea something human. It's giving them that
Chris
quality.
Murphy, call the office, please. Chris Murphy.
And ignore that announcement. A metaphor is a figure of speech that makes a comparison between two unlike things. As a literary device, metaphor creates implicit comparisons without the express use of like or as. Metaphor is a means of asserting that two things are identical in comparison rather than just similar. So you're saying something is something else, but it's a comparison that makes us more greatly appreciate what the two things are being compared as. This is useful in literature for using specific images or concepts to state abstract truths. Laughter is the best medicine. She is just a late bloomer. Is there a black sheep in your family? His heart of stone surprised me. I smell success in the building. He's buried in a sea of paperwork. There is a weight on my shoulder. And you'll notice that some metaphors are other examples of other literary devices like personification. A simile is a figure of speech in which two essentially dissimilar objects or concepts are expressly compared with one another through the use of like or as. So it's another comparison, but rather than just saying something is something else, you're saying something is like something else. Simile is used as a literary device to assert similarity with the help of like or as, which are language constructs that establish equivalency. And equivalency means sameness. A proper simile creates an explicit comparison between two things that are different enough from each other that their comparability appears unlikely. Nutty as a fruitcake, slept like a log, sly as a fox, fits like a glove, cool as a cucumber. Again, use this example of literary devices to help you with the Wednesday and Thursday assignment.